Now, we don't, for what it's worth, of course, we don't have to do this at 4 o'clock on these particulars.
No, don't have to. But we are.
Yeah.
Right now, ladies and gentlemen, if you are tuning in, we're doing a special show here. We might do some other special shows here leading up to the election. We'll see, depending on your participation. We are here live in the East Coast, West Coast studios. I'm here with Dr. Doane. Today is the 22nd day of October. I will post a timestamp copy of this show if it gets cut off, like I did yesterday, up on YouTube. If you search for Doane, D-O-A-N-E, you'll find us, Jimmy. And YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Libsyn, Apple, Amazon, Google, SoundCloud, every place. Lots of places. So come on over and check it out. Share with your friends and such. All right, I'm just waiting for the final confirmation here. The Facebook thing is working. All right, I'm not gonna wait. Not gonna wait anymore. Let's see. Where's my main screen here? Right there.
Are we on, do you think?
I think so.
Okay, good. Good deal. All right. And where am I today?
It says streaming. We got green light. You are in. Well, I don't know. There's that spiny thing behind you that looks familiar, right?
Ah, yes.
Yes.
But is that, what's that red building?
I don't know. You're the DC guy.
That's true, but I don't remember. I mean, that's old enough.
New.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. Have they opened up the Washington Monument
The
yet?
parks and stuff? Oh, I don't know. Oh, here's your coffee here.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Appreciate it. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, the big news, of course, is we're going to have to wait till tomorrow. We might have a little chat tomorrow.
Right.
But the big news, of course, is tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern Time.
Smackdown.
Is the Smackdown. That's right. With microphones being cut off in mid-word.
Yep.
And
we'll see.
I haven't watched much of this stuff. You know, even Mrs. Jimmy, of course, loves to watch the rallies and all that other good stuff. So I don't watch all of that stuff. But I think tonight maybe I'm gonna. It's 90 minutes, I think.
Listen, my advice is fast forward. 1.5 speed. You can get through it. You can cut through everything.
That's a thought.
Watch it later.
Okay, that's a thought. The problem, of course, is that I've got to have some place that I can fast forward.
They post it up on YouTube.
Yeah, they do. That's
like
right. You're right. They do. They did. It is on YouTube. Yeah. Okay.
Same
so anyway,
thing you can do with this show.
I guess we're going to find out what the questions are. They said it when I was listening earlier. They said,
"How come you're such a terrible president?"
Well, of course, that's going to be all that. I mean, that's going to be a lot of that. But I wonder, of course, if the Biden thing's going to come up.
You mean the Hunter thing?
Yeah, Hunter. Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, I hope not, because there's still no there. I mean, even if you accept every allegation, the latest stuff with the Bublik, what's the guy's name?
Yeah, right. Yeah, the partner.
Balinsky?
Yeah.
Okay, so even if you accept everything he says as 100% true, and you say to yourself, Hunter was out there using his name to solicit funds and paying Joe. Let's assume all that's true. What did Joe do, allegedly, that he wouldn't have also already done?
Yeah.
For the money,
right?
I mean, if he didn't do anything different,
right?
What's the?
Yeah.
Then he's just grifting a little bit.
Well, at least he didn't sell uranium to the Russians.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
That's what we're talking about.
If it comes out that that's what happened,
that's what
because of it. Okay, then it's a big
problem,
deal.
Right. Well, I agree with you. I don't think any of that's going to come out, and I think if they're smart, they'll steer away from it.
Yeah.
And of course, the good news is this is what I'm kind of expecting this with the mute switch on the mics. Mm-hmm. That the ex-vice president will have a chance to babble.
Sure.
And so we'll see how that works.
So and also, and one more thing about that, he's the vice president. What the hell can he do?
Yeah, right.
I mean, so I'm discounting the whole Hunter Biden laptop story. I mean, it's probably all true. It sounds true,
but
it doesn't matter.
Of course, you say that. He's the vice president, but of course, if the election goes his way, then the vice president is going to become pretty important.
Well, I mean, again, if they can identify some quid pro quos that happened, if they can say he wasn't going to do this policy, but then he did this because he got paid.
Well,
okay.
as you say, though, what can the vice president do?
Nothing.
The guy cuts ribbons.
Seriously.
I mean, that's it.
I cut the ribbon over here instead of over there.
Right,
I mean,
right. I cut the. It was a new Chinese.
That's right. We moved the ceremony to 4 o'clock.
Exactly.
I mean, what can you do, man?
Nothing. That's right. Okay, I got two pieces of news here. This is going to be a short one today.
Okay.
Because we're going to try and do this like almost every day now, right?
Maybe so. Leading up to the
we'll
election.
see. Okay.
We're under corporate pressure here.
Yeah, we sure are. Trump rejoices as the Senate panel approves Barrett while the Democrats boycott, which you'd figure. I did not realize this, but the Judiciary Committee is made up of like 25 senators.
Okay.
And 13 of them or something are Republicans, and 12 of them or 11 or whatever are Democrats, and none of the Democrats showed up, of course. But, it goes through. Of course, that's what's going to happen on the vote. The vote's supposed to be Monday.
Okay.
So that's only a couple days away. The Republican-led U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee on Thursday approved Trump's nomination of ACB, Amy Coney Barrett, to a lifetime Supreme Court seat despite the Democrat boycott. So, like, big deal. Clearing for the final confirmation on Monday. They approved it with 12 Republicans and 10 Democrats. No Democrats, obviously. And let's see. So it does appear that it's going to be certain. Of course, they boycotted it. I forget. They had something to say that this was. They called the confirmation process a sham. And I'm wondering, I read the Constitution, okay, and it tells you in there pretty much how to do this. So where's the sham part?
Yeah, that's all just smoke.
I know, but it's
that's
funny.
all excuses so that if they do the court packing later, they can come back and say, "Well, you guys did something bad before," and so.
Yeah, that's right. You fulfilled a vacancy, which is court packing. So yeah. Okay. So let's talk for a few minutes. I got a few little notes here on COVID.
Okay.
As we know, it's coming out with people that actually matter. I think, like Ron Paul, for one. Ron Paul has a Liberty Report every day, or 5 days a week at least, at noon, on his Ron Paul YouTube channel. And he talks about it. And he's been adamant about the fact that this COVID it's time to open everything up, get out of the way. And of course, he gets, there's all the hypocrisy from other people that say we're going to die and so forth, and you're killing grandma. But it's amazing to me that there are substantial people now, epidemiologists or whatever, disease people, whatever you want to call them, virus people that are coming out and saying, look, this is closing down, the whole economy is costing more than it's worth. There just comes a time when, well, look, I look at it a little bit like when. Like when you send the 600 into the war thing and they all get shot down.
600 more.
600 more. That's right. Well, who was it? What's the guy's name? Not on the Simpsons, but on Bender. Who said that they were killing people? We'll just get some more people and kill them. Fry. Yeah. Well, it wasn't Fry, but it was the commander.
Oh yes. Call me when it's a catastrophe.
That's right, yeah, but then I love the part in that when they said they ran out of bullets.
Right.
And that's why we won. And of course, somebody goes over there and says, oh, look, you have a reload switch here. Oh, look. So anyway, at least 130,000, here's a report. This is from another one of these organizations. At least 130,000 COVID-19 deaths were avoidable. Trump administration is an abject failure. The Trump administration's failure to act, mockery of experts, and politicization of the pandemic may have cost hundreds of thousands of American lives, says researchers at Columbia University. Okay. Columbia, right. Okay, well, it's named after Columbus.
Sounds racist.
Well, yes. What do they call it? He's an anti-indigenous person. That's who he is. Yeah. Blaming an administration that was slow to act, ignored experts, and failed to adapt and improve over the course of the pandemic, as well as woefully inadequate.
But what's new here? What are you talking about? What are you telling us?
What I'm saying is, what's funny about this report is on its face, it's bunk. And it's just another one of these things that saturates the news. It's a fairly long article.
Yeah.
And,
from where?
And people read from Columbia University.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, that's where the study's from. Is that where the article's from? Or?
Yeah. But my question is, of course, as we talked about before, The report compared the U.S. response to several other wealthy countries in order to estimate how many deaths were avoidable, quote unquote, if the government had taken a different approach. They never in this article talk about what the different approach would have been.
Just the better one.
A better one, right. Yeah, just come up with something better.
Better.
I'm sitting there and I think this is news. This can't be news.
All right, I'm going to have to show this now,
Okay.
which is the total number of deaths per 100,000 or per million in Sweden going back to 1860.
Whoa.
Yes, and as you can see, the least deadly year on record is
This year.
2020.
Oh my God.
Well, actually, you know what? It's interesting. If you zoom in here, it looks like the graph cuts off here at 2019, but it says it's talking up to October 2020, which I don't know how. I don't know.
What's that little dip in there?
Where?
Yeah,
Where?
right there.
I don't know.
What years are that?
This is at 8. This is 1938.
Okay.
So maybe.
Might have been fewer then.
Yeah. So well, it looks like I don't know, but it's definitely if I don't know. I can't believe this thing cuts off at the very end there. Shoot. Well, oh well. But
Close enough.
if it's correct, I mean, obviously 2020, the line could be like way up here or something.
Yeah, I doubt it. No.
According to this is what it says, and I'll bet you it's true. And so they did no lockdowns, no mandatory anything,
No.
full economic everything, and they are literally having their best health year on record.
Right. Well.
So-
Yeah, it's interesting because
Yeah,
I was.
tell me.
Yeah. It's fascinating because it's all about the control. As we talked about on the other day, yesterday I guess it was, that they're trying to re-up the clampdowns. They think they're
In places, yeah.
I mean, it's just phenomenal to me.
Look, they don't know what to do. They're scared to death. But we're pointing it. We're pointing. Look at Sweden. Okay.
Yeah.
They got 10 million people there, 6,000 deaths, and it's over. Now, I mean, look. I mean, the counterpoint to that is, if you calculate their deaths per million, they're country number 30 or something on the list of 188 or something.
Yeah.
But this is a country with a lot of travel in it, and it's a very Western country. I mean, you would expect that to be like that.
Well, not only that, their populations are fairly concentrated. I mean, you
Stockholm and
and
Göteborg,
Uppsala
whatever.
and again Gothenburg, Göteborg, yeah, right. Or down in Malmo, of course, is also down there in the south, and of course that's for what it's worth. That's their immigrant population is down there.
Right, and I'll bet you, and in fact, I read early on, and I haven't double checked it, but what I read early on was that a big hit that they took was among the immigrant population,
Yeah.
and of course among the elderly.
Right.
So, I mean, 6,000 people out of 10 million.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing good.
They're doing
I mean,
well. So anyway, you don't want me to continue on with this? I mean, this is just...
Well, yeah, it seems a little bit. I mean, unless there's something new in there, I don't know.
No, the only thing I saw was that, again, the question is, what would you have done?
Right.
And of course, what they did say is that...
We called Trump out for calling the travel ban early.
Early, right. I
We
mean, there were
said-
12 deaths at that point when he closed
like, there
down
was
China.
like nobody in America. There was like no cases or one case in San Francisco or something.
Yeah.
And they shut down travel to China and Europe. And so, I mean, I thought that was overly aggressive, personally.
It was, and of course, it wasn't until later, of course, that in March, I guess it was. But again, we're talking about a month here, or 2 months maybe, of the pandemic, whatever.
Yeah.
And the question is, what would you, Joe?
Well, I mean, look,
what would you have done?
And how about this? Here's what people have to remember is that the president is in charge of protecting you and your life from foreign invaders. Okay, not plagues.
A virus is
No, sorry.
No, it is. It is. It's
not.
really
No.
teeny.
No,
It's a teeny foreign invader.
No, sorry. Health.
It spoke Chinese.
No, the states handle health. The states.
Oh.
The state's purview handle health. If you died in your state, you have to be mad at your governor. Okay.
Angry.
Well, no, you'd be mad because
Okay.
you're already dead. So
Okay,
you
right,
got to
okay.
be insane at that point.
Okay.
But seriously, the states are in charge, and the states can do whatever they want for that. I mean, you can keep people out. You can do all kinds of stuff. So if you want to blame somebody, blame the governors because they're the ones who were technically in charge. But You can't even blame them. I'm sorry. If you're an adult American, you got no excuse. You can't say, I went out and got sick because I didn't see the president wearing their mask, or because so-and-so official told me to go out. They assured me I could go out. Guess what? It's on you. You're an adult. You're responsible for your own health. If you got sick, if something happened to you, it's your fault. Nobody else's fault.
Yeah.
Quit trying to shift the blame.
Yeah.
That's just all there is to it. So, I mean, I know this is political season and you got to blame the president for everything, but at the end of the day, it's the people who got sick's fault. And, it'll always be
that's right. I mean, and it is. It obviously, this is one of those things that I guess it'll come up in the debate tonight. That'll be one of the central things. Will be how Trump murdered 130 to 220,000 people because he didn't care.
Right.
And so forth. So that'll.
Good luck with that pitch.
Yeah. Good. Well.
The projections early on were 2 million people dead.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, you could argue that if those projections are right, he saved 1.8 million people.
Yeah.
So I mean,
they were wrong.
But again, he doesn't get the credit for that either.
No.
Because it's you and it's the state and I mean it's you. That's what it is.
They don't like him. They said one of the here's the only thing in this entire article that they came up with as a solution. They said these a minimum of 130,000 deaths could have been avoided if the U.S. had taken an averaged, quote unquote, approach that mirrored the strategies of other nations.
We listened to the experts and then we averaged them together.
We averaged them together. Yeah, but what are you crazy? What are you? No, we averaged Italy with Japan.
Of leadership. Look, Trump did what Trump does, which is he leads. He made some choices and he went in that path. And you can like it or lump it or hate him or whatever it is, but that's what he did. And I, like you said, there haven't been any suggestions as to what everybody else has done. And of course, in hindsight, you can make up suggestions. Well, we would have done this. And,
right. But I haven't even heard that.
No, I know.
But that's the thing. I haven't even heard that.
Not me neither.
And apparently nobody's asking, what would you have done, and had got a coherent answer.
Yeah.
Stop the entire United States economy in its tracks. Everybody, what is that game we used to play as kids when you used to freeze?
Oh, right. Yeah, everybody freeze tag or something.
Freeze tag, yeah, whatever it was. That's what they do. Call it. Okay, freeze tag, everybody.
Right. No,
airplanes drop out of the sky.
Touch the people.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I know what you're talking about.
So anyway, they were accusing the administration for mocking the basic, well-established public health guidelines and advocated unproven or unsafe
well-established guidelines.
Yeah, well-established guidelines, right? And denigrated its own public health officials. Of course, Trump is one of those people that when you're cleaning out the swamp, and when you realize it, especially when he came in, he's getting all these intelligence reports from people that had been they're the same people that would be giving intelligence reports to presidents for 50 or 60 or 100 years, and he finally says, well, this is worthless. These people, they don't know what they're talking about. And I mean, they can't, because otherwise we wouldn't be in the mess we are. That kind of thing.
Well, look, it's a report, and the reason that they're not in charge is because they're there to report, and he's in charge.
Right.
So he gets to look at all their stuff and say, no.
Yeah.
If he wants, and that's perfectly okay. And you can't say, well, they're the experts, and so they get to make the call. No, they don't. They don't get to make the call just because they're the experts.
But you didn't listen to the experts.
Yes, he did, and then he told them they're full of shit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You're right. Undermining the reputation of its own public health organization, blah, blah, blah.
Look, experts, and I say it all the time, you can trust a scientist to know their science.
Right.
But you can't trust a scientist any more than you can trust a human.
Right.
I mean, they're human beings. And that means they're subject to all the complexities and biases and influences that human beings are subject to.
And you got to ask yourself also, on a lot of this stuff, a lot of these research reports, who's paying you?
Well, that's what I'm talking about. That's like level number one of where you get the fund. Who sets you up to do this?
Well, you got to add Columbia, for instance. That's a government study.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There was a Harvard study that came out the other day that said similar kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, yeah, well,
yeah.
What do you expect?
Yeah, I mean, here's the deal. You can either actually analyze this stuff in a real live matrix that shows that everything that they're screwed up, and then you get no more grant money ever. You might as well just disband the department, or you can go with the flow.
And look, and as you and I both, I'm sure we're not suggesting. I'm sure I'm not suggesting that they're doing it on purpose. It's unconscious half the time.
Right.
So you.
Oh yeah. Well, this when you see this unconscious, one of the things I look at, and this is the swamp. Mm-hmm. When you watch the little bits of TV that I do watch, the news people, the talking heads and so forth that live in Washington, mm-hmm. they all think the same thing. It's like it's a mind meld. I mean, they really are screaming liberal people. It's just stunning to me and of course I see that in the government, of course, especially in Washington D.C. Look at Brooks and Shields and Brooks, for instance. Mm-hmm. Shields is an avowed, and we know he's a screaming liberal, but Brooks is the token conservative. I don't think so, not even close.
Yeah, no, he's a centrist at most. Are they still on? Do they do?
Yeah, they on every Friday. They have a little show every Friday.
I used to watch them, but as you pointed out, we used to get the left and then the center, and so
now we get the left and the left of center, or whatever
right.
It is. Yeah, I just again when I hear people like the lady from Democracy Now! Or some of those other people, I mean their mindset is so. There's a Slate, for instance, broadcast. John Dickinson is another one that's on Slate. He's also in one of the Sunday morning shows. He's one of the moderators of the Sunday morning show. Okay. And he is almost sane, but his buddies are just nutso. And I will say that they're ones from Washington and then the girls from New Haven or New York or something, but that's a liberal enclave also. Mm-hmm. But when you listen to these people, it's just, you realize that they have, as I said before, so many times, when the doyen in New York says, how could so-and-so get elected? I don't know anybody that voted for him or her or whatever. It's just, so we'll have to see what's going to happen. But we don't have long to wait now, do we? Week and a half?
Huh?
A week and a half before
Something
the election?
like that, yeah.
So we're looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that. So anyway, basically what I had to talk about
Okay, that's all you got there?
Yeah, pretty much.
Let me see if I got a couple of things here.
We don't have to spend a whole lot of time. We just wanted to get this this off, not a Wednesday, not a Sunday, off to a start.
Right. I just wanted a couple of things. Did you see they law enforcement dropped the charges, one of the charges against Chauvin?
Yes.
The minor charge.
Right.
So we'll see. But I keep telling people, all those cops are going to get off except for the one in Atlanta. Even Rittenhouse. Everybody's getting off except for the cop in Atlanta. That's the way I'm so.
Now, what did the cop in Atlanta do?
He's the guy who shot the guy who was running away from him with the taser.
Okay.
And the defense is going to try to argue that he was pointing a taser at the officer, but I'm pretty sure those tasers only have one fire, and he had already fired it.
Well, not only that, how far away was he?
Well, that's the other thing. If it's one of the string ones, he's way down the road. You're not going to get anywhere close to him. And all you had to do, instead of shoot the guy, was get in your patrol car and follow him until he stopped running.
Right?
Yeah.
He was like out of his head.
Yeah, he was there to get a burger at McDonald's.
I remember I remember in some of the really funny movies.
Or Wendy's.
When the cops come up and the guy starts to run and the cop will say, "Look, Fred, don't make me chase you."
No, that's what I should have said.
Don't make me.
Dude, come on, man.
Come on, man.
I already worked out today.
I worked out. Come on, this is not working out.
That's right.
I know
I'm going to
who
pick
you
you
are.
up in a couple of minutes. Get you down the road.
Those are the funniest things. I mean, those are the great ones. Even when the guy starts to get away and the other cop, pulls the car around and he jumps over the fence and runs into the other.
Well, the great one was
partner.
The best joke on that was the Andy Griffith when Otis would lock himself in the.
Right. It's a drunk. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he would just lock himself in the thing. This is really great.
All right, so there's that. Oh, and I wanted to show you this now. This is a much better way to do law enforcement in these crazy situations. And fortunately, this is coming. So there was a murder suspect, and they wanted to go get the guy, and they didn't want to risk any officers, and so they sent in a drone.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. This video right here is taken from a drone. That's the blast that opens the door. This guy's flying this drone. Look at the stillness of this picture. I mean, it's like a perfect. It's nice and balanced and everything.
Yeah, it's got a gyroscope.
That's what I'm talking about. So now this guy, you're going to watch. They literally fly this drone into the guy's apartment, and he gives up to the drone.
Well, we've seen that before.
We have?
Yeah, in the Iraq War, when they would fly the drones over.
Oh, right, yeah.
And they'd wave the white flag at the
Don't shoot.
Don't shoot. That's right.
I mean, it's this. This is the way that it should be done.
No, you're right.
You don't risk any officers. You don't risk the guy. I mean, the drone's not going to shoot the guy. The guy knows he's caught. He's on camera. There's nothing. There's no wiggle room. And look at how good. I mean, the guy's got like 1 yard to fly this drone through this door here, and he does it. I mean, this is neat. Now, what's also neat is this is a new job for the police.
Right.
You want
He's a drone specialist.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
Somebody who can fly this thing in there. Look at him. He's got the camera. He's got it nice and hovered. I mean, this is the way it should be done.
Yeah.
So
wait a minute. Are we going to see the
yeah,
guy?
he's coming out in a
Oh,
second.
yeah? Don't.
I'm not gonna change it. I'm just getting the next story queued up here.
Okay, good.
So
This is great. I mean, this, like you say, this is great.
this is the way it should be done.
You know, it's funny because you sit there. They're talking about having some psychological people go along with some of these things. How about the drone guy?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean,
he's going to be first.
Yeah.
So and here he comes out. Right?
I wonder if the drone has a speaker on it.
It does.
Okay,
Absolutely.
cool.
Absolutely. They're telling him, dude. See, look, and he's like, hey, okay, all right, you got me. And
Look at that.
hands behind your head, they tell him, I'm sure. And then they walk him out there, and the drone like sticks
Well,
around.
no wonder his pants are down.
What does that mean? What are you talking about? Anyway,
That's funny.
That's good stuff right there. All right. Did you see, just real quick, Charlie Hebdo?
Yes. Now what was this? This is the guy that had his head hacked off in.
Some teacher, apparently there was some.
And this is in Paris, right?
Yeah, France. Anyway, I don't know if it's Paris, but yeah, and some teacher.
I think it was.
And so because he talked about Hebdo in the class. I guess.
Right.
Hebdo put a building-size image of Muhammad up on a building.
Really?
Yes.
This is the guy that got his head lopped off?
Well, no. What? Charlie Hebdo is the name of the magazine.
Right.
And I mean, this is in support of him. What they're saying is, F you and your stupid restrictions on expression. I'm sorry, we can draw whatever we want.
Okay.
Even if your religion can restrict your people, but your religion can't restrict our people unless it's a government of some kind, and it's not. You're just a religion out there. You can't just say stuff like, you know what, we don't want you drawing cartoons and putting the name Muhammad on it.
I
know that's what they're doing, but what I'm saying is France is giving him the big middle finger for that.
Well, let me ask you a question. So this teacher did something in the classroom?
Yeah, I think they brought it up and they drew the picture or something.
Drew a picture, and then somebody ratted him out.
Okay.
That's what I heard.
Yeah,
somebody and they pointed him out.
Right.
This is the guy that did it.
Right.
And then somebody else comes up with,
Right.
Man, can you imagine? I mean, now, and of course, he got away for a while, but I think they caught him. The killer.
Yeah, I would imagine. But it's just interesting that it's this is still on the forefront here. Personally, I'm in support of Hebdo. As far as I'm concerned, you can have your religion. You can keep your people from doing whatever you want. You don't want to draw stuff. That's great.
Wait. Hold it.
Huh, what?
Does anybody know where we are?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Just a second.
Sorry. You're in D.C. I'm way out in California.
That's right. Okay, that's right. that's right. And my name's Jimmy Doane.
I'm in Venice Beach right now.
Jimmy
Come
Doane.
and get me.
Right.
I'll be in the third tent next to the whaler. So,
that's all right.
So that's right. Yeah. Well, from my perspective, look, and not that I would put the thing up there or whatever. And we're not gonna. I didn't post the image. I thought about it.
Thought about it. Didn't do that. Okay.
No,
but just mentioning it.
But I reserve the right to do it if I feel like it.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying.
That's what you're saying, and you're absolutely good. Because I do know that there were people that, as you well know, there were jihads and all this kind of stuff against some of the. Salman Rushdie was one of the first, but others. But I mean, there was editors that got killed in Netherlands and in Japan. And
it's happened a lot, and it's crazy because you read the Quran, which I've read it twice, and it's very nice, simple, peace loving, God. It's good stuff in there, but I mean, look, to me, it's the fact that so many of that religion is in dire economic straits right now.
Right.
So many of the practitioners are in bad spots. So
well, you talk about you talk about a quote Bible or leader or whatever it is. The Christian Bible, of course, especially the Old Testament, is full of not really good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's way more death and killing and slavery and stuff like that, and that. I mean, some of that's in the Quran, but the Quran is a collection of like 200 books, which are like real short, 3 or 4 page little pamphlets or something that apparently were written by the Prophet and some other people, and compiled over time, kind of like the Bible, but. And a few of the books talk about some bad stuff like slavery and whipping your woman or whatever stuff like that. But yeah, but it's minor. Almost all of it can be condensed into just God is real. Be good to your neighbors. Do charitable works. It's like the big thing that they do is charity.
The question I have is where did the ritual come from of the 5 times a day bowing to Mecca and that kind of stuff?
Well, it's in there. The big thing about the Quran is, to me, and this is total speculation based on having...
Because you didn't read it in the original Arabic.
I read it 2 different translations. So,
okay.
And
averaged them.
That's right. And I read the whole Bible, cover to cover. From my perspective, the Islam is a reaction to Christianity.
Right.
It seems as though the Christians got so big and powerful, they were ordering people to do stuff, and they had these big churches and icons and everything, and the Islam is like a simplification of all that. Islam includes a bunch of Christian stuff. I mean, all through the Quran, they're talking about the prophets of Jesus and Noah and all the biblical prophets, are all prophets in the Quran. They're just not children of God in any different way from the other prophets. So it acknowledges all that, or says all that, and then what was I?
Well, you can see what you can see. It was around 700 that this all came out, 750 or something.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say.
Go ahead.
Well, no, you keep going.
I was just going to say that that had given the Christian religion time to really get pretty large.
Right, exactly. At that point,
Constantinople, the whole...
Exactly. You had Istanbul, everything, the whole thing. And so this, to me, seemed like a simplification of everything. And basically what they said is, none of all of that grandiose stuff. Just do the following. Just recognize God. Just worship God. Just pray to Him. And, thank God for being around here. And do good stuff. That's pretty much it. And so the concept is a minimalistic approach to religion as opposed to building giant Gothic churches and stuff. And so that's all. And so, I mean...
Well, the Gothic churches came later.
Yeah, well, okay. But still, so the praying 5 times a day is sort of look, since we don't have big churches and stuff, you got to do something to acknowledge the God, and you got to do something, and so you do that, and so like you said, it got to 5 times a day, but
6 is better.
5, only 5.
Yeah, only 5, right?
So, all right, and then finally, I just had one quick question here for you, and that is, if you're willing to speculate at all, what do you think the United States will be like if either Biden wins or Trump wins, or both, or not both at the same time?
If they both win?
That's right. If they both win, that'll be a mess.
I really haven't that is, it's a pretty complex question.
It is.
Because the government is so powerful in so many areas.
But is it really? I mean, is Biden? I mean, is it really going to change all that much? We've talked about the lack of change, even with the regime change.
Yeah, it's a good question. I'll have to think on that. I'm going to defer, because one of the reasons is that so much of what is being done now is by the bureaucracy.
Right.
They have their own, they're a judge, jury, and executioner, those guys.
You're talking about the administrative agencies.
Yeah, the administrative agencies.
Right.
I mean,
they're not even involved with the
not even involved, right? No, and they have
pass their own laws.
Absolutely, and then if you have a problem, you have to complain to them.
Right.
And they have their own
system, and if you can't get through their system, you can't even get to the...
Right.
It's administrative law is a crazy unconstitutional...
and that's one of the things that eats up a lot of the money. One of the problems we've got, when you realize that in governments at all levels now chew up something between 40 and 50% of the earnings, of the profits of us.
Right.
And that's a lot. I mean, you got to realize that if you earn $1, if you earn $2 and have to give away $1 to some government, or some bureaucracy, or some whatever it might be, some sub thing that's by force. Mm-hmm. That money is not left over to grow the economy. because governments, by and large, can't do anything right. I mean, they can't grow the economy at all. Nothing. When I hear about investing in the economy, it's a joke. I mean, it's Solinda.
I'm with you on that because I mean, first you have to realize that if they're going to invest in society, if they're going to have money to invest, you have to first take it from the profits of an already successful business.
Right.
So you're already cutting down on
Right.
business. So even if you're just as successful as those other businesses, you've just broken even. And so now the only difference to that is, and people will say, well, they're not taxing to get the money; they're just printing the money up, and then
That's a tax.
well, I'm with you on that. I mean, but they're going to argue something like you put the money in first, you get the production, and then you get the growth, and then the debt is easier to pay off or some crap. But it doesn't work that way. If you deflate the money, you're going to take out more.
I mean, if you inflate the money.
Well, yeah, I was going to say if you deflate the value.
Inflation is a tax.
Right.
Anybody knows that inflation is a tax. It's a hidden tax, and it's a sneaky one, and they get away with it because it doesn't look like. In other words, you don't have to write a check.
Right.
You just have to pay more for stuff.
Right. Well, all right. I mean, I think I'll just speculate real quick. Now, we'll probably want to try to answer this question before the election.
Okay.
But I'm going to go ahead and do it now, just for the heck of it, because I thought about it. But I mean, from my perspective, if Trump gets elected, there'll be immediate rioting and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think that the left and the criminals, the far left and the criminals, are going to come out and try to do some harm.
Really?
Yeah, they're gonna. Yeah, well, I mean, they're gonna be pissed. They've spent years. There are real people out there who are convinced that this president. I mean, shoot, we talked about it last week or yesterday. Elizabeth Warren says he's the threat to all life on the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, if you believe that you have to vote because your life depends on it, and then the guy wins, then you're going to be in a real quandary, mentally speaking, and now. That may be enough to get you to go out and join your friends to do stuff. I mean, it'll be led by criminals and whatever who want to just take advantage of the situation. But we'll see. But here's the thing. You figure if that happens in democratically led cities and or states, at this point, if it's after the election, Trump will have already been elected. So there's no incentive for them for the leaders at that point to let the riots continue. This year we had Chaz or whatever, and you could see the people in Seattle are thinking, you know what? This is probably good for us because we show this degradation of society and then we blame it on Trump, which is what they did all summer long. It was Trump escalated the whole thing, and so we got to get this guy out of office. But after it's done, you're just burning your own city. I mean, after the election's already over, what are you gonna accomplish by allowing people to go out and do these riots and stuff? And the answer is nothing. So, and the Republicans, they're gonna not allow it to happen in their jurisdictions. So, are the Democrats? I think they're going to quash it, is what I'm getting at.
Okay.
Before too long, I think there'll be some riots for a little while, and then it'll be over by February or March or something, because there'll be nothing in it for anybody. And of course that'll be sprinkled a little bit with the not guilties from the police and stuff. There'll be a little bit of that. But then the big thing will be if the predictions that we've been talking about for now a decade or something, which is a big economic collapse, happens. I feel like Trump I have a little more faith in his ability to pivot and do something that would help us. Now, maybe not. Maybe he just goes all in like Obama and George W. Bush and just says, you know what, print the hell out of everything.
Yeah, I think so.
And full throttle on the socialism, just like any Democrat would do. But I think there's at least a chance that he would pull back. Contrary-wise, I think if Biden gets elected, there'll be a nice period of calm for a little while before the verdicts come out, where everybody goes home, because I don't see Proud Boys or right-leaning people rioting or doing anything like that.
Right.
And so everybody goes home for a little while. But then if the economic thing rolls in, I would expect all kinds of crazy fixes to come out of a Democratic administration and Congress, which would distort the market in all kinds of ways. Economic programs mixed with social initiatives and just all kinds of stuff. And I certainly would expect that they would rip the knob off of the money printing machine.
Okay.
So
yeah, I think I probably see that as well. Of course, one of the things that is kind of the big unknown here is how close is the election?
Yeah.
And that is going to be a big deal.
Well,
If there are, 10,000 votes in Wisconsin that separate the winner from the loser, that's going to be a big deal.
well, it's going to be more riotous than otherwise it would be.
Well, all the ones I've seen so far, I've seen, now, not that these guys know anything because they were so wrong last time.
Yeah.
But I've seen, the March to 270 is what they call it.
Right.
And there's several of them that have, Trump at 275.
Right.
And what's his name at 265. And then there's another one that has Biden at, 330.
Right.
And so forth. So nobody knows, and we have to wait a little while.
But my thought is, my thought about that particular issue is this: if it's decisive one way or the other, then we don't have anything to worry about.
I
If it's
agree.
a total landslide for either Biden or Trump, everybody will be like, "All right, you won," and it's over. If there is the closer that it gets, the more likely the Supreme Court gets involved.
Ooh, I hope
And
they don't.
I know, but if it comes down to something like 10,000 votes or some electors who won't cast their vote based on
Do you
the
really think that the Supreme Court, after the debacle
absolutely
of 2000,
absolutely,
you really believe they would take it? Oh, my.
they will take the reins on that so fast.
Oh, my
Let me tell
God.
you, these guys, all they do is solve giant legal problems for the United States, and they believe that is their purview. And it is. And
No, it's not. That's a political problem.
well, I know.
They're not supposed to monkey with political stuff.
Well, right, but there'll be a lawsuit. Somebody will file a lawsuit, and it'll go.
They can refuse to take it.
I know, but they won't. Unless it's just clearly bunk. I think they'll take it. And I think they'll
Well, we're gonna have
rule
a-
on
we're
it, and
gonna
we'll
have-
have a decision before January 21st. That's my thing. So we won't have the uncertainty of an unfinished election, because to the extent that there's uncertainty, when it crosses the point of real uncertainty, the Supreme Court's going to get involved and take over.
Interesting.
So-
Okay. Well, I think maybe there is that precedent from 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, it would be. What I would have learned from 2000 would be don't touch it.
Oh yeah, no, well,
That was what I would have learned. Once burned, twice shy. I'm
potato.
telling you, I would be so out of there, and I would hope that Amy, whatever, would say, "Look, I'm not voting to take that."
I mean, it all depends on what
And she's gonna
circumstances
be
we're
in there
talking
Monday.
about. Yeah, maybe so. It all depends on what circumstances we're talking about. I mean, we can imagine, I can imagine a set of facts where they definitely shouldn't get involved, and I can imagine a set of facts where they definitely should get involved. So, I mean, it just depends on how bogus the things are that are going on, and
Well,
I think we
this
can
is-
expect
I will
the
say one
height
thing.
of bogosity.
Yeah, well, I will say one thing, that this election is certainly going to be a boon to those lawyers that like to file suits. I mean, there must be thousands of lawyers that are in place. Their word processors are cranking up right
I
now.
don't know that it'll be like the 2000 election. I mean,
They'll be flying, they'll be parachuting in.
it looked like the butterflies in
I tell you.
Venezuela or something.
Yeah, no, that's right. All right, well, we have to wait for that. But anyway, what we're going to do is maybe tomorrow, if we do this again tomorrow. First of all, if you're listening to us, if you heard us, let us know if you think we should be back, or tell your
say
friends,
that.
or don't, or say go away. This is terrible. But we might have a couple of comments to say on the debate.
Yes, it is very possible. And so let's see. Oh, and we should mention just real quick, as we're going out here, Bitcoin 13.
Oh my God, went to 13,000.
Yeah, how about that?
I heard Peter Schiff was in there, and he's saying, no, this is a trap. It's a trap.
It's a trap. That's right. Don't do it, Luke. Well, we'll see. So, all right. These tracks brought to you by Kevin McLeod. Thanks, Kevin. Really appreciate it. Join us here, probably tomorrow, maybe 4 o'clock, right here, and chime in if you want. I'll check the messages and see if I can include you in the show here. So, thanks for joining us. See ya.